For nearly a decade, you've been asking Jason questions. But did anyone think to fact check this guy? This is the Audit Jason Show. Hello, everybody. My name is Jason Piercy, and this is the Audit Jason Show. This is like 11 or 10 or whatever that we're doing. So if you don't know what it is yet, I'll say it again. And probably for every single show because I don't know. Yeah, probably. I don't know. Yeah.
And it didn't count down 5 seconds. You didn't start before 5 seconds, did you?
No, I didn't. No, I know what I'm doing. No, I did it right. Thank you, though, because a lesser person might not have. So I've been in real estate for like 15 plus years. And after the first number of years, I decided to do a lot of video content. And I created something called the Ask Jason Show, where I got really animated and spoke about how I guess I thought I knew more and better than everybody else in real estate. And now a lot of time has passed and it's been a decade-ish. So now we're going to watch them and audit how terrible I was. Yeah? Are we ready? Are we good? Okay. Where are we? Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's watch it. On this episode, I got super animated and warm, and thankfully, this is water. Whew. This real estate stuff is not easy, so send me your questions and I will answer them. This is the Ask Jason Show. Hello, everybody. This is episode 11 of the Ask Jason Show. I'm Jason. If you are paying very close attention, and let's face it, you are likely not, you've not seen episode 10 yet. And this is episode 11. Yeah. If I'm ever famous and very important, that... So you have seen 10 now, because this is like we did 10 last time, and it was awful. Now you can see it. You couldn't see it for a very long time. A trivia question at bars everywhere in Newfoundland. So let's face it, that's never going to happen. But nonetheless, there was an episode 10. It did get filmed. It was the first one where we increased the production value. Like I feel so. I have one of these things, and like all of my stuff is here. But it didn't turn out the way we wanted it to. Did it, Director Joe? Not quite the way we wanted it to. But the message was really, really good. So it'll probably surface sometime, or maybe I'll re-answer the question. So it's good stuff. I'll put it out there. Probably re-answer it, hey? Right now it's in the vault. It's locked down. It is the lost episode. However, that's not what we're here to talk about today. Actually, before I get into it, I tried to do Facebook Live before. I still do this. He just edits it out. Because somebody, a marketer actually, told me that landscape when you're creating video on your cell phone is way better than portrait. So I tried to do landscape. Facebook Live doesn't like landscape. Am I showing up sideways on your news? So this is what I have. So interesting that then it was like, no, you got to film your videos in landscape because like the algorithm likes it better. And now if it's in landscape, it's only for YouTube. It's the only stuff that is in landscape. Like this is filmed in like landscape, but in like 4K. So we can like crop it to go like 4 to 5 or 1 to 1 or whatever it needs to be for whichever, subcategory, whichever platform. All right. So I just find that interesting. And continuing. I don't know how to work this. So next time I will know better. Okay. This is more of a point of clarification than it is a question. A first-time home buyer who I have known personally, actually, for a fair amount of time, came to me very recently, just earlier today, and said, man, I'm a little bit hesitant to buy a house right now because I feel like prices are going to go down further and I don't want to miss out on getting a better deal if I wait. This is such good timing because we're starting to see less and less of these like bidding wars. They don't exist, by the way. The way our real estate law is written, you can't do a bidding war. It doesn't work that way. Anyway, we're seeing less of them, and things are no longer selling in that first like 5 to 7 days. Lots of stuff is, but some of it is not. So that means that maybe we're close to not a market coming down, but to like the peak, right? And then it levels off in a slight plateau or whatever. We'll see what happens. So that's sort of where we are now. This that he's talking about is the same thing like a decade ago. So I'm sort of excited about it, how this plays out. This is sort of ranty for me because this type of person, okay, let's go back 4 or 5 years ago when everybody needed to buy immediately. Like everybody was running and climbing to get to the houses and buy the houses and do it now for fear that they would increase and they would be priced out of the market and so much anxiety and so much stress. Let's buy a house immediately. And interest rates were not, well, a good, probably an additional 80% of what they are now. I mean, now you can get 5 years locked down for less than 2.5 points. And back then, I mean, definitely a full point on top of that. 3.5, sometimes up to 4, depending on your situation. So when there was less inventory and buyers had zero control and we were in a seller's market, everybody was in a rush to purchase for higher interest to cost, it cost you more to borrow the money. The house cost you more and you got less for your money because it was a seller's market and everybody was in a rush to buy. That's exactly where we are right now. This could prove to be a really valuable piece. What are we? Pulitzer for this. But now that money is remarkably cheap and inventory is plentiful and you can do better job of negotiating now than you could have 5 years ago, people want to wait as opposed to making the right decision today. I find that entirely frustrating, not because it keeps me from helping my friend purchase a house and get paid, because I've said a bunch of times, I don't care about funds from individual transactions. I want this guy to make a really good decision. It's like, when your parents say, you'll understand someday because I wish that I knew then what I know now. Well, this is the thing that later you will wish you knew then when you knew now, because I'm the guy who's telling you now instead of later. And then the now is the then. And then there's now is a good. You remember that? Joe's like, I remember that. Okay. This was pre-ADHD diagnosis, just to have that said. So, but could you follow that? Did you? Yeah, oh yeah, okay. And I hope you did too. So I still get it. But now I use that same example, but now I talk about, because my daughter's a massive Harry Potter fan, like growing up until the whole, J.K. Rowling is a terrible person thing. So, anyway, I don't need to get into that. Politics. But I used to use the example instead of doing the I'm the then and you were the now and the thing that you knew and that you wouldn't, because if you did, and then anyway, that reminds me, I still have ADHD. The viral thing, the little meme where the little boy is like, did you ever have a dream that and went and then and went and could and like that's what I feel like I am now. Anyway, I totally forget where I was going with that, but it had a point. Anyway, yeah, let's just that one's got me. I knew I was going to get fired up on this, Joe. I did. I knew this was going to get me going. This isn't even coffee. It's water. I knew that was going to get me going. So in summation, you should buy a property when you see a property that you like and the value makes sense for you and you have a rate of borrowing that is acceptable to you. Because do you know, say you're spending 300 grand. Do you know how much money 1% of $300,000 over 25 years is? You don't need that. So what's going to happen when
How much money do you think that is?
Everybody sits and waits, so less things are on the market? What happens then? Supply and demand. less things on the market, people are going to start to move. You don't have as much choice. You don't have as much inventory. You're going to see a leveling of prices. You're going to see interest rates slowly creep and climb. Like, they can't get lower. It's almost free money. It's okay to wait until it's right for you. Do not wait too long, because that is the source of regret. And regret is a horrible, horrible feeling. When I was in when I was in high school, I used to volunteer at a local senior citizens residence, just because I thought that it would get me into the right school. I went to Mon anyway. Nothing wrong with Mon. This is going to have to be a hashtag. Mon is okay. Mon is great. Hashtag okay. Mon rules. But I would talk to the seniors there, and if you ask them a question, it doesn't matter what the question is, they all start with, I wish. I wish this, I wish that, all these other things that I wish I had done. Regret is poison. Make decisions that are good for your future and make them at a time that makes sense for you. I am overheated. There's lights. There's a jacket. Why am I wearing a jacket? I think I've said everything I need to say, Joe. Episode 11, buy houses when you feel good about what you're buying. Not because somebody on the news, even if it was me, said that you need to wait longer because prices are dropping further. Do what's the right thing for you to do with the advice of a professional that you trust. Bring the energy level down, because this is important. Live happily ever after, because you made the good decision at the time, when later you would have said that you wish you had known what you know later back then. I think you know what I mean. That's all that I have to say. Thank you as always for watching. I had fun with this one, and 10 is in the vault one of these days. Until next time, cheers.
That might be like, I really enjoyed like watching that from like the entertainment value. There's no post credit. I kind of expected a post credit. Yeah. Yeah, I think you were more sparing with them. Yeah. Yes. Like, I'm predicting something similar here now, right? So still super low inventory, really, really low inventory, and lots of buyers in the market, pent up demand, things selling over asking. It's still very deep into a seller's market, but there's signs, and maybe it's seasonality, who knows? There's signs that there is at least a lowering in the slope at which it's climbing. I think like it's more gradual now. It's not as intense and as right. So one thing that comes to my mind is right now houses pop up, everybody got to buy one. And they're creating this increase in pricing because the demand is so high. When prices start to drop, they'll be holding off buying because they'll want to wait for them to go down, which means they'll be chasing the market, right? So you don't chase the market, you lead the market. And the same thing happens when you're selling your house. If everybody's buying, everybody needs to buy first, real quick, so that they get the best deal. And if they don't get in first, somebody else gets in first, and they got to pay more than them, and that's how prices climb, blah, blah, blah. If that is the case, when prices begin to descend, sellers should be clamoring to get their house on the market. Because if your house is worth 450 and you put it on the market and you get 450, that's incredible. Then the guy next to you, he can't argue he's worth any more than 450. So he needs to go at 450. And then prices are beginning to decline, so he only gets 442.5. And then the other neighbor puts theirs up. They're capped at 442.5, and that's a terrible listing price. So they go up at 445, and then they only get 435 because they asked too much. And now all you had to do was be the first one to list, because now the next guy, he'll be lucky if he gets 425, and the next guy might have to list at 400 just because now there's three others that are already at 415. So that's what those are the directions that we don't go in, that we should go in, because I'm going to do the thing, because if we knew then what we knew now, and I remembered what I was talking about, I still use that same argument, but this time, instead of saying, when you're a kid and you wanted to go to the party and your mom said no, and you're like, you'll understand when you're older, Dumbledore and the Pensieve spell, where he takes the memory out and puts it in the bowl, and you bury your head in the bowl thing and you can see the memory. If we could do those things when it comes to our real estate, well, it comes to every decision really, when it comes to our real estate decisions, that would be the thing that I think I would most want to impart. Just the forethought or the perspective even. Because one way that a really good real estate professional can help somebody who's buying or selling, leasing, whatever it is to translate their own personal perspective and experience into your existence. You still get to filter all of the experience and the perspective and the knowledge through your self, your wants, needs, desires, and your realities. You still filter it all through you. But if I could take the things that we know and put it in the head of somebody who wants to buy or sell real estate, that is exactly what we would do for your best benefit. And I'm not sure that has anything to do with what I was saying earlier, but it is how I feel. And I think that is the 10 years later version of if you knew the thing that you think that you didn't, and if you had, and then see what happened was it had rained, and then the car has slid. That's a Fresh Prince reference. I don't know. You get it? Yeah? Cool. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.